We're at the kever of Rav Chaim Cohen, aka the Chelban, the Milkman. He made cheese as a profession, and if you come to the corner of this Pesach verse, you'll notice his indiscreet. He's just right here, just minding his own little business as he did in his life, and yet the stories that are said about him are hardly believable. They don't say these stories about you and me. We'll share some of them, and it's just the immensity of this mekubal is unfathomable. Even as a child, he heard the shofar from Shemayim blowing at 7 years old. A remarkable person. As an Oyev Yisrael, there were times when he would yell and scream at people, and he was able to read people's thoughts, and that was quite evident. You can tell when a chazan was thinking of an Arabic song, and even though he never heard of the song, he was able to tell him why you're thinking of the song, because he heard it playing in his head. He had a taxi driver drop somebody off at his milk factory, and he told the guy who came to visit him, he said, call him the taxi driver. Tell him that if he starts being shomer habriz, all his shalom bayis problems will go away. The taxi driver comes and white as it goes 5 minutes later, and he says, really? He said, yeah, I'll give you a bracha. And he knew what his problems were, he knew what his solutions were. He had someone walking behind him once, one of his talmidim, and his talmid was thinking that, if I had a father and grandfather or a tzaddik, it might be a big tzaddik too. And Rav Chaim turned around, and the guy didn't say anything. He said, you should know that I didn't get where I became from any of my yichus. I learned every single Musar sefer there is. When he was giving shiurim, and even through all of this Musar, he says, I only do it to shake people up so that they'll do tshuva, and if they know that there's someone who can read their thoughts, then they'll guard their thoughts. And but he says, I never once felt any anger at anybody. There was a motorcyclist that pulled up next to him. He was upset that he was blocking the traffic. He banged on Rabbi Chaim's window. Rabbi Chaim opened it, and the man spit in his face. And Rabbi Chaim did not lose his temper, and he said, why? You understand, it sounds better in Ivrit. He says, your spit is so sweet, maybe you'll be mazaking me to spit on the other side of my face too. And this chutzpah spat at him again. And again, he kept his cool, and the motorcycle pulled out and got plowed over by a car. And Rabbi Chaim sat there crying. He was an absolute Oyev Yisrael, even though his methods were somewhat, Sephardi and unconventional. He wore a ring for a part of his life after Elazar Abu Chatzera, was murdered. So he started wearing a ring with Shemas of Hashem, different yichudim written on this silver ring, and there was one man who was stalking him for a bracha, but he refused to give him a bracha. He said, you have ruach tumah, something about you. He refused to deal with any dibukim also, because as a child he saw a big mekubal who got out a dibuk, but this dibuk had so much koyach tumah that it took over this tzaddik, and he went insane. So from then on, he didn't deal with any dibukim. He forwarded these dibukim to other people, but he refused to give this guy a bracha, and he was hounding him. He was coming to the cheese factory asking him for a bracha. He was breaking into the factory and causing real problems. One day, this man actually showed up in shul and attacked him while in the middle of davening, and Baruch Hashem, his gabbai pinned him down, got the police, but that next Shabbos he took off the ring. He only wore the ring to protect him from these attacks. The stories are mind-boggling. He used to wake up in the middle of the night and come learn in his shul until early in the morning, and he would light candles before davening. He said that there were different neshamas and their tikkunim, they would go up with the light of these candles. When he was giving shiurim, he would open and close a window behind him, and someone asked him, why are you closing the window? And he said, there are neshamas who come to listen to the shiur, and the noise was bothering me. It's a wild stuff. He had a talmid who had a son who was throwing up in the hospital, and he wasn't able to eat any food, and you can imagine this is dangerous, you have to eat. And it was already 2 weeks, and he was on IV, and the matzah was not getting any better. And he sent a message to Rabbi Chaim for a bracha, and he didn't give back a bracha. He said that everything's for the best, but he didn't give a bracha that the kid should get better. So after a little while longer, and his son wasn't getting any better, this father came to the Rav Shir, Rav Chaim Shir, and Rav Chaim had given Avtach, anyone who comes to Shir, and have in mind what you want, he was maftiach, that you'll get whatever you want if you come and you learn in the Shir. He gave a Shir from the Ben Ishchai, I believe. So, in the middle of the Shir, this whole time, the father was thinking, I'm going to ask him for a bracha, that my son should get better, like I get a real bracha, not just a kol unassuming. Then the Shir, as he was approaching Rabbi Chaim suddenly turned around and he was saying, Rabbi Chaim ben Akasha Omer, he started throwing up. Okay? They brought him home, made sure he was okay. And the man said, look, I can't get a bracha from him now, he's sick. He went back to the hospital. When he got back to the hospital, the son ate the first food he ate in weeks. So he went to go tell Rabbi Chaim the good news. My son's feeling better. He says, yeah. What could I tell you? I looked up in Shemai and they said that your son was supposed to be sick. We can't go against that. So I told you, it's min ha-Shemayim, ma lasot. But you came to my shir, so I took the sickness upon myself. I was able to handle it. Hashem, your son will be okay now. The stories are unwavering. I mean, like he had a Talmud who believed in very much, and he told him, you know what? I can read people's thoughts. I think you're at a place where you could also. I'm going to give you a hug. And he hugged him, and then his Talmud was also able to read people's thoughts. A week or two later, the Talmud comes back and says, take it away. I find that instead of helping people, I'm just judging people. So Rabbi Chaim said, okay. He gave him a hug and took away that koyach from him. He said to give 3 prutas by Varach David. It's a school for Parnasa. He said it's a tremendous shmira to wear your talis and tefillin from your house in the morning. The Torah that he said the things that he knew, he spoke to every mekubal. He said that the Moshe Shalom gave him the koyach to know the Shemas Hashem, the Shema Meferesh, every nuance of it. Like he was a simple milkman. He was a simple milkman as far as the eye can see, but his eyes could see so much further than that. He knew that he pointed out Rabbi Glasstein was by Shimon HaTzaddik's kever, and he pointed out that Shimon HaTzaddik's Talmud from Mishnayos, Antigonus, is Sheikhai. So he was a Talmud. He said he's also buried there next to Rav Shimon. He knew things that nobody else knew. He saw things that nobody else saw, and he was always out looking for Klal Yisrael. And you can imagine how much koyach he has up there if we saw what types of koyachas he had down here. As a chus hayag and aleinu, and we should be zeichet to connect to tzaddikim like this.